Welcome to the Weekly Roar, coming live from the Lion's Den, helping new managers become great leaders and awesome bosses. And now, here's your host, Greg Storch.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Lion's Den. This is the Weekly Roar. I'm Greg Storch, the owner of Lion Enterprise, host of the Weekly Roar, and the founder of a worldwide bartered coaching program called The Helping Hand. I'm a certified professional leadership coach and a certified leadership speaker and trainer. I hate to say it, but I gotta say it. Today, I'm wrapping up my series called Effective Thinking, Your Pathway to Success. That's right. Today, I'm going to share the 11th and final thinking skill that you can work on that's sure to make your thinking more effective. I'm going to tell you all about that in just a second. But first, last week, we all came together in the Lion's Den and I spoke about the power of unselfish thinking. I explained how unselfish thinking adds value and how it's really a mindset to do whatever you can for someone else that they simply can't do for themselves. In addition to the benefits of unselfish thinking, I also shared 5 key activities that you could start doing right away that will help you to begin to nurture your own unselfish thinking. Even though we're on our last session today in this series, I'm going to ask you once again to make sure that you're spending some time assessing where you currently are with each of these thinking skills on a scale of 1 to 10. Once you make your assessment, think about what actions you need to take that will move you from where you currently rate yourself to just moving one more number closer to 10. Sometimes when I have clients do this scaling exercise, they aren't sure exactly what actions they need to take to move forward, and that's where I help them determine their next steps. So if you're like they are and aren't sure what actions you might need to take, reach out to me and let's have a chat about how my coaching might help you get unstuck and moving forward again. You know, during this series, I kept sharing information regarding my offer for a free 30-minute discovery session that can help you find out what coaching is like and whether we could work together. Well, like this series, that offer is also coming to an end. And for those of you who reached out to me, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to connecting with you later. Now, if you or someone you know might be thinking about hiring a coach, here's the link to my schedule one more time. Please share it out. I'm going to put it right here. All right. And don't forget that if you weren't able to join us last Wednesday for the Weekly Roar, or if you want to catch up or just want to watch that episode over again, you can access my free video resources on my website at lion-enterprise.com. Click on the Lion's Pride Library menu and find video number 122 for last week. And while you're in the Lion's Pride Library, make sure you look around and stay a while. It's a free resource, and it's a great way for you to get more of the roar. All right, everyone. Again, welcome to today's episode that I call Redefining Your Primary Measure of Success. You know, typically when someone uses the term bottom line, they're referring to a company's earnings, their profit, or their net income. The term comes from the literal interpretation of a company's income statement. The company's net income figure is located on the bottom line of the statement. But today, I'm not talking about financial health or net earnings. Dollars don't always have to be the primary measure of our success. What? I hope you guys were sitting down for that bombshell. That's right. I said it. Dollars don't always have to be the primary measure of success. Here's an example of what I mean by that. When it comes to the success of your family, do you measure that by how much money you have in the bank at the end of the year? Okay, maybe you do. Okay, I'm going to give you that one. How about this? What about in my wife's case at work? She works for a nonprofit organization called the USO. How do you think about the bottom line there? What's the indicator of performing at the highest potential when you aren't measuring dollars? Okay, I think that one was a lot better. There's a great example of literally not using dollars as the primary measure of success. You know, when Frances Hesselbein assumed control of a drowning Girl Scouts of America organization back in 1976, she had a different bottom line in mind. And it was exactly that type of thinking that resulted in being awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1998. See, she wasn't focused on the almighty dollar. She focused on the mission to help a girl reach her full potential. And that's what became her bottom line, not money. Bill Clinton said this of Frances at that award ceremony. She has shared her remarkable recipe for inclusion and excellence with countless organizations whose bottom line is measured not in dollars, but in changed lives. He used the word remarkable when he described her recipe. And he said, not in dollars, but in changed lives. By simply shifting our thinking to the mission, the bottom line, in anything that we can do, we can achieve remarkable results. And that's why I wanted to speak with you today about changing your perspective and developing the skill of relying on bottom line thinking. If you tend to think about the bottom line in terms of finances, like most people do, then you just might be missing out on some very crucial things. The shift in perspective is away from dollars as the bottom line and more towards the bottom line being the end, the final takeaway, or the end results that you're trying to achieve. If you're able to shift your perspective of the bottom line like that, then you'll see that every activity has a bottom line. The work you do has a bottom line. Your parenting has a bottom line. And even your service to your community. All of those things, they all have their own bottom line. Now, before you think, is he crazy? My boss would kill me if I ever told them that we shouldn't measure our bottom line in dollars. Well, I didn't exactly say that. So as you think about making a shift to bottom line thinking, consider these other benefits that come along with it, okay? First of all, bottom line thinking gives us the clarity that we'll need to focus on the proper tasks and activities that align to achieving the bigger goal. With the clarity you can gain with bottom line thinking, you're able to measure outcomes a lot more quickly because it provides the benchmark that all of your activities are going to be measured against. In the example of the Girl Scouts, their bottom line was to help a girl reach her highest potential. Once that bottom line was identified, all of their activities were measured against that benchmark. Everything they did was to ensure they maintained that bottom line. This is a great way to ensure all of the little things you do are all aligned to achieving the bigger things. Another benefit to bottom line thinking is that it provides us with a measurement tool. It's a measurement tool that we need to assess every situation. When you finally identify your bottom line in whatever it is you're doing, it makes it so much easier to know just how good or bad you're doing in any given area. Whether you're restructuring the organizational chart or changing a product line for your customers, bottom line thinking is the constant measurement tool used in every area to determine its success. It's what all activities should be measured against. Now, the third benefit to bottom line thinking is that it aids in decision making. You see, many times in our own businesses, we've probably had to work with others to achieve what we're after. And you know, I've said this a million times that we don't achieve anything of significance without the help of others. But bottom line thinking helps us remain clear during those times of collaboration. We got to keep our eyes on the prize. So when others are trying to sell us this thing or that thing, or take us in a whole new direction, we can easily say no when we stay focused on our bottom line. Knowing what your bottom line is will allow you to pursue your goals with focus and intensity. Now, here's another benefit to bottom line thinking, and it really makes a positive impact on everyone. Bottom line thinking creates high morale. Let me explain this one a little more. Knowing what the bottom line is helps us get after it with intentionality, and when we do anything with intention, we increase our odds of succeeding, of winning. And who doesn't like to win? When I took over that really large IT contract in Washington, D.C., it was shortly after it had been awarded to the company. And honestly, it didn't get off to a good start. They just couldn't seem to satisfy their customer, and needless to say, morale of the team was low. I spent a lot of time that year keeping the teams focused on our bottom line, and let me tell you, it wasn't money. Our bottom line was the delivery of excellent IT service and support to the customers of that federal agency. Keeping the teams focused on that bottom line and associating the bottom line to all of our activities resulted in a huge turnaround on that contract. And at the end of our first year, we were awarded the company's annual team award. Hitting targets can be exhilarating, and that leads to high morale, but that can only happen when you know what your target really is. Bottom line thinking is what helps you identify and focus on it. Okay, let me share just one more benefit of bottom line thinking with you. Bottom line thinking today is what ensures our success tomorrow. If you want to be successful, you have to start thinking bottom line right now, not later. Each day you put it off puts you one day further away from realizing success. What we do today matters. You know, author Gary Keller said in his book, The One Thing, that we should make sure every day that we do what matters most. When you know what matters most, everything makes sense. When you don't know what matters most, anything makes sense. I love that. Look at Google's bottom line. It's to organize the world's information and make it accessible and useful to everyone. Now, Google's leaders make their decisions. They allocate their resources. They hire their people. They even structure their organization specifically to achieve that bottom line. And that's how bottom line thinking can ensure your future. So hopefully by now you can see some value to improving your ability to foster bottom line thinking. If you become good at it, the rate of return can be high. With that said, becoming a bottom line thinker is easier said than done. If you're wondering how you can put bottom line thinking to work for you, let me just share 4 ways in which you can learn to enjoy the return of bottom line thinking. All right, first, you're going to have to get real. That's right. You'll need to identify the real bottom line. Your bottom line can be as lofty as the big picture vision, mission, or purpose of an organization, or it can be as focused as what you want to accomplish on a particular project. But you have to be very specific. What are you really trying to achieve? When you strip away all the things that don't really matter, what are you compelled to achieve? What has to occur? What is acceptable? Once you do that, once you answer those questions, then you'll know your real bottom line. Second, you have to get to the point. And the point is all about the bottom line. If you aren't sure about your bottom line, that can result in creating confusion for others, and they might even perceive it as being deceptive. Your bottom line will be your guide and goal for all you do, and everything else revolves around it. And sometimes, for example, an idealistically stated mission and the real bottom line don't really align. So when something like that happens, well, it's natural that we might feel deceived. Your purpose or bottom line shouldn't compete with profits. It isn't one or the other. Remember this: purpose serves profit. It doesn't compete with it. All right, the third way that you can learn to enjoy the return of bottom line thinking is to get strategic. Bottom line thinking achieves results, and so the plans that come from this way of thinking, they have to be tied to the bottom line. Those plans contain the strategy that will help you get to your bottom line. The important thing is that when the bottom line of each activity is achieved, then the bottom line is achieved. If the sum of all of the smaller activities or goals don't add up to the real bottom line, then you need to revisit your strategy because it's flawed, or you haven't really identified your true bottom line. All right, the fourth and final way that you can learn to enjoy the return of bottom line thinking is to make like a spine and get into alignment. See what I did there? Imagine that each team member is a vertebra on the spine of the company. It's important that leaders ensure that all their team members are aligned with the bottom line. All team members should know the big goal as well as their individual role in achieving it. They have to know their part that they play within the big picture. They have to know their individual bottom line and how that works in order to contribute to achieving the overall bottom line. Okay, so those are the 4 ways in which you can learn to enjoy the return of bottom line thinking. Here they are again, real quick. First, get real. Second, get to the point. Third, get strategic. And fourth, get into alignment. When it comes down to it, whatever your bottom line is, you can improve it with good thinking. Remember that bottom line thinking will always give you a great return because it's what helps us turn our ideas into results. This is the one kind of mental processing that helps us reach the full potential of our thinking and to achieve whatever we desire. Bottom line thinking is not a one and done exercise. We can't just refer to it every now and then. It's a way of thinking that has to really become a way of life, or it will only serve to bring conflict. When we learn to rely on bottom line thinking, we avoid multiple and confusing means of measurement, and we also avoid wasting our efforts. All right, everyone, there you have it. That is the 11th and final skill that you can assess to improve and become a more effective thinker. Now, your assessment, whether or not you're focused on bottom line thinking, just ask yourself this one simple question. Do I stay focused on my bottom line so that I can maximize my return and reap the full benefit of my thinking? Go ahead, do your assessment on this one and see where you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And then ask yourself, what action do I need to take to move just one number closer to 10 from where I am right now? Now, before I end this series today, I want to just share a few final thoughts about this whole thinking thing. I started out 15 weeks ago talking about all the ways that we can change our thinking to be more effective. When we work on these skills, it's sure to lead to our success because it's how we think differently that makes the difference between those who achieve success and those who don't. As we move on from this series, keep in mind these last few points. First of all, remember that everything starts with a thought. And what we think determines who we are, and who we are determines what we do. Those who make it to the top, well, they think differently than others. Nothing limits achievement like small thinking. And then the last final takeaway, if you remember anything, remember this. We can change the way we think. And I hope I've helped you do that during this series. All right, so next week, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to look for that one all-time favorite episode from the Lion's Pride Library, and I'm going to share it with you. And then the following week, when we hit October, we're going to kick off the newest episode on the Weekly Roar. If you want to find out not only what my top pick is of the Weekly Roar, but also what lies ahead for all of us in the Lion's Den, just come on back to the Lion's Den next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I just want to thank everybody for supporting me and watching the Weekly Roar today. I appreciate you. I appreciate you making all these comments and having the dialogue, letting me know what your thoughts are, and sharing this out with others who also might benefit from it. Now, you know what you need to do. Until we meet again next Wednesday, remember, be powerful, but stay poised just like a lion. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Weekly Roar live event at lionenterprise.com. If you enjoyed this video, please tell others to join us each week here in the Lion's Den. Thanks again, and see you next week.